All right, shalom, shalom. First, I want to give praises to whom it is due. All right. Call Halayim, Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles and heads of Great Millstone, who I know through the Spirit, who has the 100% truth. Salutations to the hopeful elect, as well as the few aquats out here, listening and trying to learn some of this truth. I just wanted to get into something real quick, somewhat of a testimony, how I came into this truth. And, ultimately, ultimately, it was due to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua for allowing me to have these ears to hear, open my eyes, that I may see. But, hey, sometimes, as the scripture says, his ways are not our ways, he moves how he moves, he puts us in certain situations, certain predicaments, places, times, there's no coincidence, for he is the ruler of all. He runs everything. This is his movie. This is his show. He's the ultimate chess player. This is his board, so he puts us in certain situations, like I said, in circumstances that we may come back unto him. I know last year, right in the middle of last year, something around this time, last year, I started, I got this job, and like I said, he puts you in certain places for a reason. Got this job, and it just so happened that it just so happened to be brothers there that was in this truth, but me not really knowing, that they were in this truth. But for some reason, we would collaborate. We would get to talking a little bit, and certain things would be, put on the table. It would register with me to a certain extent, but not fully, not completely. But them not knowing, the brothers not knowing that what was, they probably was throwing little nuggets at me, but me not really understanding, hey, it intrigued me enough to whereas I started, when I would get off work, I would go home and I would start YouTubing some things, and I had YouTube and the internet for a while, and I would never, I've never came across any of these so-called videos, so I started looking up, Hebrew Israelite videos, like I said, it was little nuggets being thrown at me, but I was very intrigued, and since I was a little boy, I knew something was off about this place anyway, for real. I knew something was off about this place anyway. So, a lot of things, some certain things that they were saying, and I'm not gonna say no names, but they my akim. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. A lot of things that they were saying, throwing at me, was registering with my spirit, with the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, first and foremost. And it was getting to me, like, it was really getting to me to the point where I had to, study some of these things. And like I said, I had YouTube for the longest, and never came across some of these videos, that I started to type into my, tablet or phone or whatnot. And so I started pushing in, black Hebrew Israelites, black Israelites, a lot of things were coming up, different camps, whatnot, Adam Mavitt, with IUIC, all these, other ones. But, regardless, I slowly started watching some of these videos. Hell, even Truth Unveiled, 777 UD. I was watching some of these videos, and like lo and behold, like a lot of stuff started just really registering with my spirit. And you keep in mind that for real, hey, through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, I was very, in tune with the spirit since I was a little guy anyway, for real, very spiritual. Always in church, even though it was, not the church I should have been in, so to speak, but it was definitely, I was definitely a spiritual, being. But that being said, not to rant, this is, like I said, this is somewhat of a testimony, but again, I started looking up these videos and, kept on coming across Deuteronomy, chapter 28. Kept on saying, read Deuteronomy chapter 28. Read Deuteronomy chapter 28. And I started, looking into it, reading Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 on up. Really, I read the whole chapter. I used to read the Bible anyway, I did a bit, I was reading the Bible for a long time, they say when you go down, you turn to your power, you turn to God. So who they say God, anyway, I was one of those, and hey, I was spiritual, I was caught up there too, hey, but let's try to stay on topic. I was reading Deuteronomy 28, man, and a lot of the scriptures that was in that particular chapter really, really, really registered with my spirit. And so kept on reading to the point where I know I got to get up and go to work the next morning. I was reading and watching videos and from when I got off all the way up to like 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes. Couldn't even stop. I was hot for this knowledge, was fiending, was yearning for this knowledge. I knew something, like I said, I knew something was off about this place anyway. So, kept reading Deuteronomy, 28, 15 on up. And I kept on coming across, particular scriptures that really got me. And I want to read just a few of these scriptures that was getting to me. I kept coming across. One of them was, 15, that first one. He said, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh, thy power, Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So, I'm like, curses? Dang, curses? Who I wonder what people under curses, Kept on listening to some of these videos. I'm going back and forth videos. Okay. One of the videos I crossed, kept saying, in order to understand, if you fall, if you fall under these curses, you have to prove without a shadow of a doubt, in order to be an Israelite, you have to prove without a shadow of doubt that you fall under these particular curses, right? And I was like, man, okay. Let me read some of these. Let me read some of these verses. Let me read some of these scriptures. So again, I'm going to read that. But it shall come to pass, this is 15, Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, Yahweh thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, then all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Okay, like again, I'm steady like, dang, curses. I sure ain't been, having the best, it must be some of these curses, going on with me, Let me read some more. Okay, 16, it read, curse shalt thou be in the city, and curse shalt thou be in the field. I'm like, hold up. Curse shalt thou be in the city, and curse shalt thou be in the field. They started registering with me. I felt like, hey, don't nothing too much be going right. For me, every time I do something wrong, I get caught up, or, I might be cool for a minute, then I get caught up again. Like, dang, no matter where I go, I get, getting caught up. I think I'm getting away, I'm cool for a moment. Next thing you know, I'm caught up. No matter where I went, where I was in the city, country, I don't care what it was, I was getting caught up, That's a curse. That was a curse right there. So 18, it says, "Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of the land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of the sheep." Like, dang, sounds familiar, to me, curse of thy body, fruit of thy body, couldn't see my daughter, all, a lot of years, and, like, hold up, get out, and, everything is funny. She act funny, and what's wrong with these kids, and it's a curse, it registered with my spirit, it's a curse, you know. And I started reading a particular scripture that, you know, got me. And I knew about slavery, and I'm in my 40s, so I was one of those who, when I was growing up, going to school as a youngster, they were still teaching about slavery, still saying the Pledge of Allegiance, all that stuff. Hey, we were still reading. We had reading class. We were still reading about slavery, how so-called apes was walking. The next thing you know, walking into looking like men from apes to men. They was teaching us that back in my day. So we were still reading on slavery and all this crap. All this stuff. So I remember a lot of things. Certain pictures I remember too. So it never left. It never left me. Touched me for real. Like I got, again, I got to reading all Deuteronomy 28:15, really the whole chapter. But they was telling me to start at 15 on down. So I was reading 15. I'm coming to 27, 28, 29. I'm coming to 35, 40. Hey, I'm reading the whole thing. Okay. And I would start reading some of these, curses. And it automatically would start registering like, dang, okay. Keep in mind, I knew about slavery. We was learning about slavery. White or black, in the so-called black in the school where I was coming up in, we was learning about slavery. It wasn't nothing. It was normal to learn about that. So, okay. Deuteronomy 28:30 reads, "Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof." I'm like, dang, that sound like slavery. That sound like when the Negroes was in slavery. How they were, and I just seen a lot of movies back then. We was watching Kunta Kinte and Mandingo, and we was raised on them kind of movies. They would rape your wife, ravage a man's wife, and while they was standing there, and it's like they couldn't do nothing about it. I remember these things when I was young. And here it is, all this time I had this Bible, it's speaking of this in this Bible. So again, I'm going to read that. "Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her." Another man shall lie with her. Them slave owners, they was basically taking Jake's wife, doing what he will, what he pleases with her in front of the husband, in front of the man. And it was like, shut up or die. I remember learning about these things. Of course, I'm in the spirit. I was getting mad. Oh man, it sounds so familiar. This sounds so familiar. It seemed like us. It seemed like us. So I'm reading. Come down to 32. I'm reading. This is Deuteronomy 28:32. It says, "Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand." There's another one. Hit home. I'm like, dang. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to another people. Well, shit, shooting in slavery, I remember, their daughters and sons were being sold. It's like you're being sold and given into another nation, for a little bit of this, little bit of nothing, so they can work on another slave owner's land or whatnot. I'm like, man, hold up, let me keep going. It's getting, it's touching me. It's getting to seeming even more familiar, more familiar. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. I know he ain't talking about. I know this ain't talking about us. This is what I'm feeling. I remember this is just dang like 11 months ago. So then I'm gonna read that again. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. Couldn't do nothing about it. I watched movies, when I was younger. Jake's daughters and sons being taken from them, the mothers crying, you know. Oh man, it was crying. I'll never forget that. All this stuff used to touch me. Like, what the hell is wrong? Why were we the only ones going through this? Why? I ain't never seen no so-called white person, son and daughter getting taken from them to go on another plantation in another country to do some work for somebody, for basically, and then in the field at that. Like, what the hell is this? So, it was just definitely registering with my spirit. It really began to register with my spirit. Like it was something churning in me. Like it was, it was in the spirit. Like, oh, this the feeling that is, somewhat indescribable. Kept on reading, kept on reading. This is not rehearsed anything. This is straight off the top. So, forgive me if I'm ranting a little bit, but through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, I'm gonna bring it out, hope in hopes that it's edifying to newcomers. As I, if it got to me, hopefully it'll get to somebody else, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right, 41. This is 28 and 41. It reads, "Thou shalt begot sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity." There you go. I seen this. I seen this before. I seen it all these movies. I done read about this in the early '80s. I done read about this. Got to be talking about us. It started registering. I ain't gotta be talking about hey, we must be God's people, So, kept on reading. 47, "Because thou servest not the Lord thy God, Yahweh thy power, with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee." I'm going to read that again. He said, 47, "Because thou servest not the Lord thy God, Yahweh thy power, with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things." 48, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee." Oh man, I remember yokes. I remember yokes in the movies being put upon so-called Negroes' necks. I watched a lot of movies, and hey, like I said, I'm in my 40s, and we grew up learning about slavery. I don't believe they teach that in schools no more, but we grew up learning about that. So we were subject to a lot of this particular knowledge, when I was growing up. And it's everything is just like flooding back, coming back to me. A yoke, he said, put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Started thinking, destroyed thee. Man, they was destroying. It was not, that's us. They was destroying us. That's us. Put a yoke around our neck. Iron yoke. Oh man, this you see, you know, the water Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai for this truth and this knowledge, because you know I've not chosen he, but he has chosen me, and I'm so thankful that he has even allowed my ears to be open, that I might hear, my eyes to be open, that I might see, you know, what's really going on in this place, you know, this hell of a place, you know, Babylon, symbolically, you know, Egypt, symbolically, you know. All right, let me keep reading. It says 49, the Lord, whom is our power, Yahweh, shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle. Eagle, symbolic, man. That's symbolic. Eagle, oh man, that's the national bird here. Eagle. You know, stuff just registers. You know, eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. The Lord, Yahweh, thy power, shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you, look, when we was watching Kuta Kende back in the day, they wasn't speaking English. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't doing they was speaking whatever language they was speaking. I think in the movies they was speaking African or whatever. But you know, now that I've, you know, been awoken, I know, you know, they were speaking Hebrew, you know, Paleo Hebrew with that, and I know Yiddish. But I'm gonna keep going. So this is 50, of a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. I remember all that in the movie. They didn't give a damn if you was young, old. They'll smack you, beat you. It didn't matter if you was a woman, child, old man or not. They didn't respect nothing, you know. And shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks, or the sheep, until he have destroyed thee. Hey man, let it register with your spirit. Those who have ears to hear, let them hear. You know. And let me see. So Lucky, I'm just, you know, I'm trying to get to some of the, you know, the verses that really stuck with me. So, you know, again, I hope that it sticks with newcomers coming into this faith, you know, that the hopefully elect may be awoken, you know. Hey, hope it registers with you, Israel. Now again, 58. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God, Yahweh thy power. Okay? Then Yahweh, the Lord, will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, your children, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and of sore sickness, and of long continuance. You know, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt. So, hey, hold on, I'm going to finish reading. Of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. So, you got to remember that right there, too. Remember, I'm going to come back to that particular verse. Now, this is the particular verse that really got me. Hold on. I'm gonna go to 63. I'm gonna read down. All right, 28:63. It reads, and it shall come to pass that as the Lord Yahweh rejoiced over you to do you good and multiply you, so Yahweh will rejoice over you to destroy you. I'm going to read that again. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord Yahweh rejoiced over you to do good and to multiply you, so the Lord Yahweh will rejoice over you to destroy you. Because we were going off. The slaves, you know, they were going off. Okay? To destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. So you shall be plucked out of that particular land that you were in. You know, where in the Middle East, you know, where, hey, you will be plucked off of that particular land where you were put to possess it. Man, it all started making sense, right? This is Deuteronomy 28:64. And the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So, hey, right there, he's going to pluck you out of the land. He's going to bring you to another land where you shall serve other gods and thine enemies, wood and stone. Hey, if that don't register, that don't register with you. And he said he will scatter thee among all people from here to there, all four corners of the earth. That definitely has to register. Wake up, Israel. Okay? And I'm gonna read this last verse. You know, this is like the nail in the coffin right here, you know, so to speak. All right. This is Deuteronomy 28:68, and it reads, all right, and the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold. Look, listen to this. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. That got me right there. Through the spirit of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, that particular scripture, Deuteronomy 28:68, definitely got me. I'm going to read that again. And the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again. And hold up, he said into Egypt again. Now, if you do a little bit of studying, you know that this, when he speaks on Egypt in this particular passage, it's not speaking Egypt as the modern Egypt. We was already pretty much over that way. He said, shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So did some, studying and also listening to the head apostles and some brothers, whom I learned under. And Egypt is basically symbolic for bondage. It means bondage. You have to remember in Exodus, the Father Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, through Moses, brought us out of Egypt, via plagues and all that he put on the Egyptians and Pharaoh. So again, it reads, and Yahweh, thy power, the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Remember that word, ships. By the way thereof I spoken to thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, meaning no man shall save you, redeem you. So, hey, that got me right there. That was it. Because, like I said, remember, I never will forget, when I was learning about slavery coming up, D.A. Holmes, Phyllis, hey, we was reading. We had reading class. We was reading stuff back then, about slavery. And this one particular picture stuck in my head. And it was, about all these, what I remember was all these Negroes packed together on a ship like sardines. I could never really understand, like, what the hell is this? Why are they so close together? Why is it ain't nothing but so-called black folk, Back then we was talking about some Afro-American, but why was there so many so-called black folk on these ships together like this? You know what I mean? I didn't see not near one. I used to call them pink toes back then. I ain't never seen one pinky on this ship. It was all so-called black folk. I'm pull that up and show you what I'm talking about. I'll never forget this. Hopefully you can see this. Salaki, let me show you this. I already have pulled it up. This is the picture that definitely stuck with me. Get a little time to load. Salaki, bear with me. Phone a little funny. Dang it. Alright, here we go. Look, I hope you can see this. Oh shit. Alright. This is the picture I remember. Dang, hold up. Hold on. I remember it was all in color, We had it in all color when I was coming up. We had it in all color when I was coming up. I know it's kind of small, but you can Google it. Just Google slaves on ship. You can see the same image. Them are all Negroes packed together on a ship, top and bottom. We was shown that at an early age, how the so-called slaves, Negroes, were shipped over here on ships, packed together like sardines. Disease and fat, everything. You don't know what was going on back then. But again, let me read that. 68 reads, "And the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by way whereof I spoke unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies. Your enemies, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall redeem you, shall buy you." We were sold, man. Them were the slave, like doing the transatlantic slave, Atlantic slave, was sold. For bondmen and bondwomen, for slaves on auction blocks. That got me right there. So, basically with that, I'm a get ready to close out. But yeah, that's my little testimony of, me coming into the truth. I hope it was edifying, for some of the newcomers. Hope it was edifying as it was edifying for me, through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And basically with that, I'm gonna go and close out. Before that, I'm gonna give praises again to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Hey, again, I hope it was edifying, man. Shalom, shalom, shalom.